All right. Hi, everybody. How you doing? I am Johan. That is Charleston. Today on the Better With Age webcast, we have joining us from Texas, from his home in Texas, Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend, Mr. Don Narcisse. I got to say that Mr. CFL Hall of Famer, Saskatchewan legend, the man, the myth, the legend.
Man, you know you have made it. When they dedicate a whole day to you, that's when you know you've made it in Saskatchewan. Like, I ain't even made it to that level yet. They don't care about me that much.
That's pretty good right there, man. I love that. Yeah, they don't usually do that for everybody, man. But that's something there, man.
Don, how are you doing? How are things in Texas? First off, how are you feeling? All of Saskatchewan wants to know.
Hey, I'm feeling real good. Being back at home, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy out here, man. This coronavirus is off the chain. What I try to do, I try to make sure I stay home because I'm that guy that has the low immune system. Yeah, because, I had the cancer stuff and I have asthma. So I try to make sure I stay away from all of this, make sure I have my mask on. I talk to my kids, make sure when they come home, they have that mask on. But it's crazy, man. It's a different world now, man. But just trying to stay safe and, keep my kids safe too.
I was about to say, are you doing like my mom? Right now, she's real OCD about stuff like that. She always a clean freak. Like with my sister and brother, they leave out of the house and they come back in the house. She hosing them down with lights.
Oh yeah.
As soon as they hit the door, she's spraying them
down. Yeah. My kids, they be like, Daddy, why you still have your mask on while we here? I'm like, I don't know where y'all been. So I'm not going through that. I'm not going through that.
Safety first. So, Donna, how are things going? I know we've been trying to be able to keep up with you in the news. The Leader Post had a good story about you a few months back, but we want to know about the update and how did how are you doing after cancer? How did how are you surviving? You had a pretty tough go at it, right? I mean, cancer is no easy thing to be able to take on, and once we heard the news and everybody, you're one of those guys that I feel as a fan watching you, everybody in Saskatchewan smiles when they think of Don Narcisse. So I want to know, how are you doing?
I tell you what, I'm doing fine. The one thing that when I first found out that I had cancer, I had talked to my sisters. I was heading back to Canada when I found out on a Monday, and on a Sunday, I get a knock on the door, and my whole family is at the door. Cause I'm like, and I opened the door and they were like, bro, you're not going nowhere. You ain't going back to Canada. You're going to get this taken care of. And the one thing that my sister said, I have a sister, she had pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
And she survived it. And she said, Don, this is what you need to do. You need to put it on Facebook, let everybody know what's going on with you. And you're going to be able to help a lot of people out, and they're going to be able to help you out too. And man, when I post it, it's like about 5 to 10 guys hit me up to let me know that they had prostate cancer, and this is some of the steps that they had to do, and it really, really helped me out. Then I had a lot of guys calling me, asking me, how did I find out? So I started explaining everything to them, and about the PSAs and all this stuff, man. And I tell you, man, it's a journey. Having cancer, it doesn't matter what stage it's at. It's just a process that you have to go through. And the 39 days of radiation treatment was one of the hardest times in my life, man. I had to drink 64 ounces of water and hold it on my bladder. The hardest thing ever. And it's like you're in a locker room. It's like you're at a football. Put it like this. I was looking at it as I'm playing for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. We all in the locker room. All the guys had to put their capes on and everything. We put our capes on, but everybody would walk by the bathroom because everybody got to use the bathroom, but you can't use it. And so you just walking around and for 39 days, man, I had to go through that. And I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing ever. But when I got a chance to ring that bell, it was one of the most excited time of my life, man. And it's a blessing just going through it.
Good for you. I mean, there's the day you find out you have cancer is like no other day. I can imagine how it would be for you. My firsthand experience with cancer is that when my 2-year-old son back in 2005, I had to go to Saskatchewan, and the doctor told us that my son was diagnosed with leukemia, and that he had a 48-hour chance to live on a Friday at midnight, right? And the moment you have that firsthand experience with cancer, it changes your life. You have a different perspective, obviously, and you're thankful for everything afterwards. But it's really one of those things where you have to, for us, the doctors and everybody that went through cancer told us, take it in stages, right? Our first stage was to make it to the 48 hours, then it was to make it through the surgery, where he had a central line catheter put in, and then a shunt put in, and then over his chest, and then it was stages to do that. I can't imagine. I drink one glass of beer, 20 ounces. I got to pee 3 minutes later. I can't imagine 64 ounces. You doing this for 39 days and having to walk past that washroom. That'd be like torture.
Yeah, I was about to say that's torture. That's torture right there.
Like Chinese torture that you're talking about there.
Oh man. Oh.
But that's very, very inspirational too. I love the way the people started to reach out to you to be able to find out, okay, what to do. Did you ever think that by posting it on Facebook, it would have that much of an effect?
No, not at all. And when I got a chance to tell my sister was like, I tell you the truth, man, I started crying because I was like, girl, God, this is God, man. This is all God. Yeah. And by doing that, it opened a lot of doors for me, man. I even met one guy, and I'm kind of, I'm scared to go to a hospital, do the doctor stuff, right? And it's one. So, when I go to the doctor don't talk to me, talk to my wife. All right. So I remember I'm in there, and and I was like, my wife, my translator. And then I say, what did he say? Oh, he's about to get all up in you. What? Yeah, you get ready. Yeah, you got to get ready and stuff. I'm like, yeah, no. But it's it's one guy that his last name is Mr. Witt, and he's from BC. But his son lives in Saskatchewan. Yep. He hit me up, and he deals with prostate cancer. So whenever I got my numbers, I would send it to him, and I would talk to him, and he would explain everything to me. Awesome. I'm like, I would call him. He would just explain, hey, Don, this is what's going on. This is what you got to do. I'm like, man, I never even met this guy, and I met him off of Facebook, and he knows me. And it was unbelievable just to go through that moment, man. And then I got a chance to meet him one day, man. It was unbelievable, man. And you never know what the next person is dealing with. And the things that I was going through, man, I wanted to make sure I shared with everybody, because everybody was able to help me out through it.
But, Don, I think that's a testament to yourself and your personality, because of, I think, all the positiveness you've done for all the fans of the Riders and watch you play across Canada into the States. I mean, I think that's a testament to you and the personality, because you, even after football, during football, you're great. Your talent, stood above the rest. But after football, you'd see your smile, whether it be in Regina or Saskatoon or PA, and everything you did and all the things you did for the alumni, but also all the different charities that you've done. Charleston's got that nice flag in the background, all the kids sports.
Yeah. When they dedicate a day to you, man, you have done an extreme amount of charitable, and you've touched a lot of lives within the city of Saskatchewan, the province of Saskatchewan.
Canada.
And Canada, period. When they can donate a day to you like that.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that, I do a lot of community service throughout, Regina, throughout Saskatchewan, throughout all of, Western Canada for the most part. And in Saskatchewan, when people start talking and then they speak on you, and then they kind of, man, you do so much in the community, and it kind of reminds me of Don, and then everybody kind of start relaying the two together, and I'm like, man, and then randomly you just send me a message saying saying that all the good stuff that I'm doing and to get recognized by you after everybody just got done telling me like, man, you remind me of Don and all the good stuff that you're doing in the community with the kids and everything. And I'm just like, man, I'm overwhelmed myself.
Hey, Charleston, you know, when I did hit you up, man, I was seeing on Facebook all the great things that you were doing in the community. And I'm like, man, that's the things that I was doing. And that's why I hit you up just to let you know, man, keep doing what you're doing, man, because I'm telling you, man, it's, you know, like when I tell kids, man, you know, playing football is okay and everything, but when you do stuff off the field and you inspiring these kids, it's overwhelming, man. And I seen you doing it, and I just made sure I had to make sure I give you a little, you know, a little pub on it and stuff like that, man, because you out there doing a great job, man. I really appreciate what you're doing.
And I second that, Don. You know, one of the things that that it's always made me applaud both of you guys is the fact that not only are you guys good human beings, but the things you do off the football field. And that's why I really respected Charleston when I first started to get to know him, is that I would see him doing the things that you would do, Don. Charleston would do these things alone by himself, and me and a buddy would be drinking at the bar, and we're seeing Charleston do all the fundraising and all that. And I'd be going, nobody's helping him. Let's go help the guy. Let's do something. Same thing, Don, that you'd be doing. You're doing all this stuff for kids sport. You'd be going around, you'd be organizing stuff, and it'd be almost like then you get helpings from, you know, some of the people around Regina, like Mia and Jason over at Cravings and Stats, and you get all these community people who would want to say, hey, Don, we'll do this for you. We'll do this. You're one of those guys, you don't ask, you're just going to do it. And you're a leader. And same with Charleston, you lead by example. And those are some of the attributes I think that have made you, both of you guys, so you know, we look up to you guys and we really want to be like you guys. So we're thankful for all the work that you guys always do in the community. So good on both of you guys. So Don, I want to talk a little bit about, we always get into the athlete stuff and we talk about, you know, we had John Bowman on the show a few weeks ago and he talked about first coming up to Canada. I want to know Don Narcisse's first experience coming from Texas to Saskatchewan. What the fuck were you?
You ever seen snow before?
Yeah. What was your first experience coming up to Saskatchewan?
Okay.
I done seen plenty of people come from the south, never seen snow before, and then they start looking in the sky like.
What was your first experience coming to Saskatchewan?
Let me go ahead and paint the picture.
Yeah, please.
I'm with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah,
I made it all the way to the last cut. Come to find out, the next day they had to cut 10 guys. I was one of the guys they had to cut. First person I called was my mom. Called my mom. I said, hey, Mom, I got cut. And I'm in there crying hard. Yeah. And I'm like, and she was like, baby, when one door closed, another one to open up. So then I called her the next morning. I say, hey, Mom, I'm going to this place called Regina, Saskatchewan. And she was like, well, where is that? I say, Mom, I don't know where it is either. So I flew on in. I left at 6 in the morning. I got there right at about 10 o'clock. Now practice started at 10. So I got there right about 10:30. They were like, hey, we want you to practice. I was like, want me to practice? I just been, you know, I cried all the way here. So I'm like, wow. So, okay. I get my shoes. This guy named Norm Fong. Yeah. I wear size 10 and a half. He gave me 11. so okay. So I'm like, okay then. So I go out there and I'm looking, I'm like, first thing when I got off the plane, it was cold, like cold. I was like, man, it's cold out here. And it was September. It was September 6th.
And it was cold in September.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So then I went to practice. They stopped practice. They put 10 guys on one side. And they say, hey, Don, we want you to run 10 routes. Your first route we want you to run is a hook. That's my favorite route. Man, I beat that dude up, man. I ran out of the 10 routes, I caught 9 out of 10. We went back into the locker room. They had another guy that had number 80, and they cut him the same day and gave me number 80. Yeah, and then I was like, this is how this work out here, because I was like, man. So, when September hit, when I was playing, when September hit, man, you better be on your game because you can get cut just like that guy got cut.
Yeah.
And that always stuck in my mind, man. Like, you always got to be on top of your game, and you always got to be prepared. Even though I flew for 5 hours, I didn't get a chance to really rest. I cried all the way there, but you never know when you're going to get tested. And I got tested right away. And next thing you know, I got my job. I had my job for 13 years, man. 13 years. And, being in Canada, man, I'm telling you, like, I'm going to tell you one of these little jokes that they had out there. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Decline that. My wife's trying to call me. All right, let me tell y'all one. It's cold outside. It's freezing. It's cold. But a friend of mine told me, he said, hey man, if you use Vaseline and put Vaseline all over your body, it's gonna stop the wind from blowing into your skin.
What?
Yeah. So I was like, no, sir. So okay, so I go in the locker room. So they have a jar of Vaseline in there, right? So I go in there and I dip up in there, get it all up in there, start putting it all over my body, and then I dip back up in there and they put it all over my body. So I'm thinking nothing of it. So 2 days later, they was like, hey man, can you stop double dipping? Double dipping? What you talking about, man? It's like, I was like, what are you talking about? So I went back in there and I did the same thing. So the next day they put on the jar, Narco. That's my nickname. They put it, this is your jar. I was like, I still didn't get it. They were like, yeah, man. They said, the Vaseline we use it for is to put it on our lips and you put it all over your body. So I didn't know, man. I was like, but I tell you what, putting that Vaseline on your body when you're playing, I'm telling you, it closes your pores where the wind doesn't blow into your skin. And I was able to play like in minus 20 without having any sleeves on. And it really works. I had it all over my face, all over my body, and the wind will not blow into my skin. It works.
Have you ever heard of that, Charles?
Oh yeah, that's what I said. We still do it now. If I'm like extreme, usually I'm good because I'm from Michigan. I'm used to the cold weather. But if I'm hurting where it's really, really cold, I rub Vaseline like all over my torso, all over my arms.
Yeah.
Before I even put my gloves on, I put Vaseline all over my hands. Like every pore is clogged.
Yep. Yeah, it works, man.
Really? I've never heard of that. Narco,
yeah,
that is awesome. That is awesome. So did anybody on your teams over your 13-year career, did you ever have any other practical jokers? The guys would say, hey, Narco, go do this, or hey, go try this and trick you. Or,
obviously, he just practically joked the whole team. He put,
double dipping.
Yeah, he double dipping, putting butt hands into the Vaseline, and then people rubbing on their lips. Yeah.
Then he got his own container. That's not for the other guys. But what about anything that anybody did over the years that you can remember? Like they taped some guys to the. Did they tape you to the?
No, that wasn't me. No,
was that Suter?
No, that was I forgot who that was. They taped him all up and everything, and he wasn't happy at all. Yeah, but I remember I had a good friend. Of mine that I had got on the team. His name was Steve Wiggins, and he was at practice and stuff, and the guys love to do them pranks and stuff like that. So what they did to him, they put cow manure in his helmet. So when it came time for us to go to practice, he had cow manure in his helmet. And Steve is like a person like he didn't take it well, right? And he really wanted to fight somebody, right? Yeah, he was really, really upset. And then the guys who did it, they came to me like, hey man, what's wrong with your homeboy? I'm like, y'all picked the wrong one. Yeah. Y'all picked the wrong one. Yeah, y'all picked the wrong one. I hate to say it, but y'all did. And it was like Bobby Jurison and Bob Poley and all those guys. I'm like, y'all picked the wrong one. Don't play with him. He kind of crazy, right? So I was like, man, dude went off. Dude didn't practice. Dude he didn't take it well. He didn't take it well. He was like, I'm not doing it, man. No.
That's awesome.
No, not at all.
Charleston.
Hey, check this out. We used to have like a rookie show and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
you had some rookies, man. They had the human milkshake, right? So one rookie, like Ray Elgard, he liked to chew. So he have his chew and all in a cup. So they say, hey man, give me the cup. Give me that. So dude put everything in there, like he did this, he put that in there, he put all that in. Then it was like a milkshake. And then what he did, he took it and just gulped it. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh man. Yeah, I'm like, wow. Yeah, I was like, man, I would never do nothing like that.
And that was for the rookie show.
Yeah, rookie show. Yeah.
Charleston, did you ever have anything like that for the rookie show or doing that? Or did you have anything like that in Calgary or when you were a rookie?
Matter of fact, in the most recent rookie show that I've been to, I watched some guys do like a Fear Factor kind of version where they was eating crickets. And
you're in Saskatchewan?
I ain't gonna say where.
Okay.
And I will say somebody ate a whole cricket, like a big fat juicy one, and just chewed it all up and just swallowed it on the spot.
Really?
Yeah.
That is, the human milkshake.
I don't know whether it was worse eating a whole cricket or that human milkshake, but that's somebody's spit.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll pass. I'll eat that cricket any day of the week.
I've seen someone do that before, but it was in college, and it was like during a whole party setting, and watched the dude go grab a cup thinking it was beer and drunk it. And took a big gulp of it, all spit from that chew stuff. And I'm like, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. Don, what are some of the best memories you have of here in Saskatchewan? I want to know, it's like who are some of the when you think of your time here in Saskatchewan, what are the first thoughts that come to your mind? Obviously, maybe the Grey Cup game, but what do you think of when you sit back? You're in Houston or you're in Texas right now, you're sitting back, and when somebody says, hey, you played in the CFL, awesome. What's your first thoughts when you think of your career and all the things that you accomplished? What are some of those thoughts?
I first think about my parents when they got a chance to fly. Growing up, man, we didn't have a lot. And my dad, I was gonna become the all-time leading receiver, and my dad it was his first time ever getting on a flight. He's 65 years old.
Really?
First time, and it was unbelievable, man. I was like, wow. He never really got a chance to go to my football games because he had to work 2 jobs, and it was kind of like, by him having 2 jobs, it was kind of like the best thing ever, because if you get in trouble, you better be asleep by 10 o'clock because that's when he get off. And then he's going to leave by 6 o'clock, so you make sure you still sleep. So we had the best of both worlds. But when he got a chance to come to Saskatchewan and see his son be the all-time leading receiver in the CFL, man, that's one of the best moments of my life, man. And my dad was all about hard work. And the things that I did on that football field, I did it just like my dad did it. He worked 2 jobs, didn't miss a day. Let me tell you something. I used to run scout team. I ran scout team for 13 years straight. And guys used to always ask me, like, dude, why are you doing it? Because they asking me because they don't want to do it because they starters.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I'm doing the things that I did to get me where I'm at today. Mm-hmm. So in 13 years, I was doing the same thing. And that's why I got a chance to play for 13 years. I did all the little small things. I had a great attitude. I was always on time and I worked hard. And another thing, I had asthma, right? So by me having asthma, I used to always go to the stadium a little earlier before a game and get my breathing together, because once it kicks in, I can breathe. But at the beginning, it's like, and then once it kick in, man, I can run all day. So I think if I didn't have that, man, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. But my parents is unbelievable what they did for me. My mom didn't want me to play any sports because I had a heart murmur and I had asthma. So she had took me out of football and stuff like that. But she never knew how good her son was until my senior year. I got the most outstanding award, and I'm sitting next to her, and they said Don Narcisse. And she was like, they talking about my baby. And I was like, man, it was unbelievable. But, going to Canada, man, it was one of the best things ever. I had got a chance to meet this little kid. His name was Paul Farbert. And he used to come always knock on my door and ask for an autograph. He was about 7 years old, knock on the door all the time. I said, man, what's up, man? Can I get out? And then one day, he said, hey, man, this is my birthday coming up. I was like, oh, I'd say, man, I'm gonna stop by your house and I'm gonna ask your mom if I can take you out for your birthday. So I stopped by his house. Next thing you know, man, I went from going to their house to staying at their house during the season for the next 8 to 9 years. They were just like my mom and dad. His mom name was Eileen, and his daddy name was Nelson, and they had 2 kids, and I grew up with them. Yeah. I had my own room. I never had to pay anything. I was just like family. When people would come over to their house, they were like, "That's Don Narcisse." Yeah, like that's Don Narcisse. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. I gotta tell you this story here because it was overwhelming. Because I used to tell my mom that I was staying at these people's house, and my mom got a chance to fly down, and my mom was like, "Donald, you never told me you were staying with a white family," and she started crying because in the United States this would never have happened. And I'm staying there, man. I'm like, and my mom was crying, and she got a chance to meet my Canadian mom, and it was just overwhelming, man. I had 2 moms. Whenever I accomplished something, I had both of them to walk on the field, to acknowledge me and stuff like that, man. It's just unbelievable, man, of how I grew up. And my mom, we just love everybody. And I got a chance to stay with the Farbury family. Man, for all my whole career, man, I was staying there. And if I didn't, I don't think I would have got a chance to play for 13 years, because I got a chance to go home, have a family to talk to. If I had a bad day, I had a meal when I got off from practice. I had everything. But if I didn't have that, man, I don't think I would have been able to play for 13 years. And from this day on, man, that's my mom and dad over there in Canada and stuff like that. So I always cherish them.
That's unbelievable. And I know that Charleston always talks about some of those experiences too, coming to Canada and meeting people like that. Charleston, you can say that for yourself.
I mean, yeah, when you come into Canada and then you just get embraced, like I've been embraced by a couple different families like that before out in Calgary. When it comes to like the Anuick family, man, I went from same kind of story where I went from playing football to having to stay and work in the off season. And then I ended up staying in their basement, and I still talk to them, periodically all the time. And every time I'm in Calgary, I go visit them to go snowboarding or go to the mountains. I mean, yeah, when you get embraced by a family like that, or a group of people like that can take, a complete stranger in. Really, all they deem you as is a football player, and they don't know nothing about your past, nothing about who you are, but they still come to you with open arms. crazy to me, especially because me personally, I know that's not gonna happen in Saginaw, Michigan, where I'm from. So
Right.
I mean, they gonna look at you like, man, nah, you're not staying here. But I know personally, I had to do that for one of my friends before, and to see somebody else do that for me was just, it was embracing. It's life changing, really, when you can meet people like that you'll probably know for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah, it's so true, man. And the little kid, he was getting married, and I went down for his wedding. I flew down, and I gave him my we won the Grey Cup in 1989, and I gave him my Grey Cup watch, and he was just like, you serious, Don? I was like, yeah. I said, man, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for your family. And so this watch is for you. Yeah. So that's how strong it is, man. And it's something, man. We all good friends. His name is Paul Farberg. Yeah. So yeah.
I see you're still wearing the alumni, golf shirt there and doing that. Proud to represent and doing that.
Yeah, proud to represent.
I see. Did you play all 13 years with Saskatchewan?
Yeah. All 13 with Saskatchewan. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. That's pretty rare too, that you play for one team for that long.
Right. And like I tell people, man, I did all the small things. If you look at some of the records that I have, I caught one pass in every game that I played. I played in 216 games. There's nobody that played football ever has done that. And when I tell you that's something that's small that nobody even think about. I caught at least one pass in every game that I played, 216 games. Yeah. Jerry Rice haven't even done it. Yeah.
I think when I think of Don, and I was growing up watching, watching you play all throughout your career, and I grew up in Saskatchewan and watching. The one thing that always amazed me, you know what Don did, Charleston? Don made the one-handed catches famous. Before Odell, before all that, Don would have these big mitts, and he's still, his mitts are huge. When you shake his hand, he's got these mitts, right? But it would be like, you'd watch him warm up at the old Taylor Field, and you'd see there, and you'd watch him doing that. He's got that nice glide, right? He's got that glide, and then all of a sudden, doof, one hand, just boof, like that, the ball's there, like this, and it looks like a mini ball in his hands, but it was just like doof, and he'd catch it, and it'd be like, man, it was just looked so smooth, and his stride, and the way he had his hands, it was just always something that I always remembered about Don Narcisse, is just those hands and those freaking awful glass cutter gloves that you
gloves. Yeah.
I want to know about that stories. How the fuck did you guys come up with these glass cutter gloves to be able to come up with that to be able to play? Because they were a big thing here in Saskatchewan, Charleston.
Glass cutter gloves. I don't even know what that
Yeah.
is.
They glass cutter gloves. Yeah, they orange, and you can hold glass with it and stuff. Like, yeah.
So how did that come about? How did you guys ever find that?
You know what? I used to see Ray Elgard wearing them, right? And I was like, man, there's some ugly gloves, man. I ain't wearing no doggone orange gloves. Because when I played football in college, my coach always had us catching the ball with our hands. Yes. So when I got to Saskatchewan, that's all I was doing. I was catching with my hands, no gloves. And then it got to a point where, man, it's cold as heck out here, man. So I was like, I need to do something. And I went on and put the gloves on, man. Man, you put them glass cutter gloves on, man, you just stick your hand out like this. And that joker is just like, wow. I'm like, wow. We just went on with it, man. They didn't look that good, but I tell you what, you catch everything that comes your way.
Yeah. So you can even see Charleston behind you. I think he's got on that flag. You can see the glass cutter glove.
Orange glove.
Yeah, orange glove. Yeah.
And you can see the tape. You can see the tape around it right there, because they're not like form fitting like a football glove, right? You'd have to tape it on because it would be loose.
Yep.
And so it started. Yeah, it started with Ray Elgard, and then you guys made it a thing. What year did you guys start to do that? Was it the Grey Cup year in '89, or was it before?
I think it was after. You know what? I'm so old now. I be forgetting. You know, I'm trying to figure it out because you know I know in '88 I didn't wear any gloves or nothing like that. In '89 I don't know. I know in '90 I did. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's one of those things where you see that all of a sudden. Then I think the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, the receivers, it was Fairholm, it was Elgard, it was Narcisse, it was Farthing, it was, you know, all those guys around that time. It was, you know, they'd all wore these gloves, and you're going, what the fuck, you know? And next thing you know, every high school kid in Saskatchewan is trying to go out and buy these glass cutter gloves. Sales went through the roof of glass cutter gloves in Saskatchewan.
I'm about to go looking for them just in case I can get me a little competitive edge.
And you know what? You don't have to go so far to go get them. Just go to Home Depot or somewhere.
Yeah, for $4.99, you're getting that great deal to be able to do that for glass cutter gloves. So.
That's too funny. I have yet to hear about that.
Oh yeah. It was the big thing here in Saskatchewan. So yeah, it was awesome.
So is that the only competitive edge that you had? Like, was your competitive edge speed or route running or hands? What was it?
No, you know what? I was I can always catch the ball. That was my gift.
Okay.
That I can always catch the football. And what I try to tell young receivers now, like I talked to one the other day, and I was like, hey man, you gotta do those little small things. It's okay to be the fastest guy out there. We got a lot of guys, but they gonna always find a guy that's just as fast as you. I said, what you need to do is work on your separation. I was able to get my separation and everything to get a guy out of his. This is what I used to do. On a running play, I used to run and hook and go on a running play. So I used to always try to manipulate the defensive back to keep them off guard. But I was able, my speed was like a 4.65 40, which is not fast. But when the ball is in the air, I can run a 4.4. But I can run a 4.4. That's after I done cut you off from getting to the ball because I knew how to position myself. We run a go route. I know how to cut you off, and you run into my speed. And then when I see the ball coming, either I'm gonna run under it and get it, or I'm gonna dive and get it. Yeah. So I used to always have that in as a clutch, but I never missed the ball. In the 13 years I played, I probably missed about 5 balls. That's it.
I love that.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, and I was like, you know, and for me, it was funny to me because I was the first guy to have 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. And I used to be laughing. I'm like, man, you mean tell me ain't nobody ever did this? You know, yeah. And you know,
wasn't that hard? Come on.
Yeah. And I was like, I run a 4.65. I'm like, now that I look at it, I'm like, I had 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons in a row, and I ran a 4.65.
Yeah. It's like you're downplaying that, and I run a 4.65.
And you know, and I used to love going against guys. This used to be funny too, man, because you get a lot of guys that come from the NFL. And then they you know how you look at people be like, oh, he ain't about nothing. I know he ain't about nothing. And then they'll look at me and be like, damn, he walk funny. He ain't about nothing.
He's wearing orange.
Then all of a sudden they're like, hey man, what school you went to? Texas Southern University. Say, yeah, man. God, you know, I'm like, man, you're not gonna take my job, bro. You're not gonna take my job.
I'm here to stay.
They don't care what school you came from. I don't work like that. I just came from the NFL.
I'm about to say that just makes me believe that 100% football speed is a thing. Like, you know, some people just can't run fast 40s. Like, when they get on the field, it's a whole different
ball game.
Yeah, when the ball's in the air, when the ball's in their hand, like they got an extra gear kicked in.
Right.
That same speed that you see in a 40, it just now changes when they touch the field. That's just being a 100% ball player when it comes down to it.
Right. And another thing, I used to love to have to compete with a guy that's fast, right? Because I knew that he was gonna pull that hamstring pretty soon. and I know for myself that I'm not gonna pull no hamstring because I'm not fast. So I knew I was gonna be able to go every play. Because next thing you know, he over there, he rubbing his hamstrings. I'm like, I told you it's gonna happen, man. That's what happened to the fast guys, because they want to run all fast every play, man. Come on, man, you can't do that.
With that done, I want to know, was there anybody that stands out in your mind that was like a big trash talker back in the day? Somebody that would send you that you can remember playing against, or even maybe a teammate with, they would be always talking, and then after you'd play him, then you'd be like, oh yeah, he shut up pretty quick.
Hey, I had one guy, his name was Barry Wilburn.
Okay.
All right. He played for the he had played in the NFL. He played with the Washington Redskins.
I was just gonna say,
now this dude here was like 6'2", strong, and Don Matthews brought him in. So I'm like, okay, so we practicing and stuff, and he tackling. I'm like, dude, come on, man. So I got to a point where I couldn't even catch the ball. I was like, man, look, dude ain't let me catch the ball at all. He want to tackle and all this and all that. So I'm like, man. So I go to Coach Matthews. He's like, oh no, ain't nothing wrong with that. So I was like, all right, that's cool. So Barry Wilburn messed around. They traded him to BC, right?
Yeah.
They traded him to BC. So they traded him to BC. I was happy too, boy. So they traded him to BC. So come and find out, we had got word that Barry Wilburn was gonna play against us, and he's following wherever number 80 is going. That's where he's going. Oh. So I'm like, oh. So my roommate is Gary Lewis. So he would knock on my door like at about 2 in the morning. Pop, 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 pop. Barry Wilburn. So, because I'm scary, right? I'm scared, right? So all of a sudden, we were about to play the game, and Barry got suspended because he got mad because they told him he wasn't going to be covering me. So we didn't play him. He didn't play that game. I was like, whoo, I was happy. So we had to play them the next game, and then he played. So, Ray Elgard didn't like him. Ray was like, look, let's run this hit screen. I want to be the first one to hit him. I like, cool. So we ran the hit screen first, and man, Ray ran into him, knocked him down and everything. And then it was on, man. And, I was like, yeah, but Barry Wilburn, man, he was a good football player, man. He had some problems in the NFL and stuff, but when he got to Canada, man, I tell you, he was like off the chain. Yeah, it was crazy.
I like Gary Lewis is banging on the door.
He knew how scared I was.
It sounds like Elgar. It sounds like you had a bunch of teammates that really would back you up. I mean, is there any teammate that you remember that really stood out and really that you always think about as one of the guys that would always be there for you, or the group of guys, maybe the championship team, or when you think about all the teammates you have, anybody pop out, or a few guys that pop out and you go like, yeah, I'm glad they're on my team than, playing against them?
Well, I had some real good friends. I talked to Ray Elgard. When I played with Ray really never talked to anybody. Really? And I talked to Ray more than I talked to him while we were playing. Yeah. Seriously. It's like, yeah, and it's kind of funny because you'll be like, you put something on Facebook and he'll respond to it. And I'm like, damn, that's right. And then I had put one picture up, and I was like, I'm the all-time lead receiver and stuff like that. And I had a picture of me and him because I had passed him up because he was the all-time lead receiver. And yeah. But then he was like, I got you in yards and I got you in touchdowns. Okay, you do. Yeah, I got you in catches, So yeah, but no, man, I keep up with a lot of guys. And then when I had moved back, I had got a chance to start the Don Narcisse All-Star event, and that was a blessing right there, man. I got a chance to meet so many kids. My first camp, I had 400 kids to show up. And I didn't know what to do because I didn't know we were gonna have that many kids. We had 400 kids. And for 7 years, I had raised over $400,000 and gave it to a charity of my choice and stuff like that. But it was just amazing, man, to see all the kids that I got a chance to touch and to go to my football camp and stuff like that. And like I always tell kids is getting kids off the sideline and getting them into the game. And that game could be anything. And just to get a chance to meet a professional athlete at a young age, that's what I wanted to do to give these kids, because when I didn't meet a professional athlete until I guess this guy came to Texas Southern University. His name was James Murphy.
Yep.
And James West brought him in, and he started talking about how he played in the CFL. He caught 100 passes, and I'm looking at him like, damn, he caught 100 passes. He's short.
Yeah.
And I was like, man,
short.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, and then I started saying to myself, I'm like, man, if he can do it, I know I can do the same thing. So next thing you know, I went to Canada, and next thing you know, I did the things that he did. He said he caught 100, I caught 123, you know, and so, you know, but just to have that just to get a chance to meet a professional athlete, it kind of like inspires you and to do better. And you see a person that's a human being, and man, I could be just like him. So that's what I want to do for the kids, to give them an opportunity to meet a professional athlete at a young age. And I think I accomplished that, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think I met my first professional athlete when I was coaching a football camp for kids in Chicago. And what's the big huge offensive lineman that played for the Cowboys? Old school guy.
Not Ed Jones? Ed T. Jones? No, not Ed Jones.
Newton?
I met Newton.
Nate Newton.
Yo, you met Newton?
Nate Newton.
Yeah.
Nate Newton.
When I say
he was a big boy. He still is a big boy.
And this one, he was like on the verge of losing weight, like not yet lost weight, but on the verge too. His hand, when I shook his hands was 3 times the size of my hands. And I was thinking like, okay, I'm a linebacker. If I got the blitz on this guy, I started trash talking, because that's just what I do. So I started trash talking him, and I'm in college. And I'm like, man, if I got a chance to play against you, I was like, there's no way I would let you put your hands on me. And when he put his hands in my chest, just to show like, oh, I block you like this, his hand covered the whole inside of my chest from shoulder to shoulder. And I was sitting there looking like, man. I was like, there's no way I would get past nobody like that. But at that time, I was thinking like, okay, I got to get bigger, I got to get stronger, and I got to get a hell of a lot faster if I'm going to go against guys like this, if I want to play at the next level. And pretty much that's what drove me to like get stronger, get faster, get quicker, like try to find ways to manipulate going against big guys like that, like him. Because I was like, if I got to go against somebody who whole hand covered a whole inside of my chest, I was like, man, I got to figure something out.
Don, what are you doing these days? Don, what are you doing now? I heard that there's recently you wrote, or it was an article in Leader Post about you doing a book, and you know, I know that I think COVID kind of slowed that down a bit, but are you still doing the book? And when are you going to be releasing it?
Yeah, the book, you know, we don't have a release date yet, but it's coming soon. Yeah, but this COVID stuff that made everything, because it's supposed to come out like in September, and then we was gonna have like the pre-sale in September, and then at Grey Cup time, it was gonna come out. So right now we just on a limb. I think we almost finished with the book. They're gonna send it to me first so I can read it to make sure that everything is okay. And then next thing you know, we'll be launching it off, and it's gonna be something else, man. Because you know, I'm a kid that came from Port Arthur, Texas. Yeah. You know, I have asthma, I have a heart murmur. It's unbelievable, dude. This is something that I never thought that would happen to me. And I get this opportunity to get it. But I'm trying to come up with some ideas of how can I promote my book. The one thing I came up with is that what I'm gonna do starting in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to reach out to every kid that came to my football camp.
Nice.
I'm going to do a Zoom call with them and find out how they doing, because I started my camp in 2011. So some of them should be adults almost. Some of them should be adults right now, but I'm gonna reach out to everybody and we all going to get on a Zoom call, and I'll make sure that I get a chance to talk to them and find out how they doing in life and what did my camp do for them, and let them know that my book is coming out and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Charleston, is there anything else you wanted to ask Mr.
I was about to say, that's pretty awesome. What inspired you to write your book? Because I've been thinking about writing
one. Put it this way: when you have somebody in your life, like I have my agent, his name is Joe Gunners.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like put everything together. He's seen all the good things that I have been doing in the community and the things I did on the football field, and he fronted the money and everything and putting everything together. And I was shocked because I never thought that I would be having, a book in my name. I'm just a little kid from Port Arthur, Texas, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be having this book coming out. It's gonna be the Don Narcisse story. So it's unbelievable, man. And like I tell people that, I don't know if you know this, when Charleston, when I was in college, I had this guy named Harold Smith. He came up to me. He was like, hey, he had played for Saskatchewan. He was like, hey, man, Saskatchewan Rough Riders are going to have a football camp in Shreveport, Louisiana. And the first person I called was my mom. And my mom, she used to send me $20 every month for college. I used to live on those $20. So when I called her, I was like, hey, Mom, this guy named Harold saying that Saskatchewan Rough Riders having a football camp and I need to go. So she said, Donald, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you $40. I want you to give Harold 20. You keep 20 for yourself. Next thing you know, I went to that football camp. It was 400 guys there. 2-day camp. They only wanted to sign 4 guys after the camp. I went on and signed with the St. Louis Cardinals. But if I didn't go to that football camp with those $40 that my mama gave me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And it's a blessing, man. And I tell people that $40 story, the thing, look, those $40 got me to be, to win the Grey Cup, to be a Hall of Famer, even being a Hall of Famer in my hometown. It's just amazing what those $40 did for me. And now I'm writing a book. It's unbelievable.
Oh man, that's an amazing story there. I'm excited to read the book right now. I can't wait till it come out. Release that thing, man. Don't let COVID slow you down. Don't let COVID stop you.
It
got to be heard. It got to be read by all the kids, all the people that you've come in contact with, throughout your 13-year career and beyond that.
Right. That
thing has to be read. It has to be seen and heard by people.
And I'm gonna tell you this. One thing that I thought of too, now that I'm on here, I'm gonna do a Zoom call. With the kids. I'm gonna need one of the special guests to call in and hop on and holler at these kids for me.
There
you go. I like that.
Hey, I'm gonna check Johan's schedule and make sure he's available.
Yeah. Hey, but speaking of that, Don, we wanted to wish you all the best this holiday season. Obviously, we're getting ready here in Saskatchewan, but we really want to appreciate you for taking the time to be able to be with us. I've met you several times throughout the years here in Saskatchewan, and every time I do meet you and talk with you, it's a smile, it's your laugh, it's going out, we went out to the pump sometimes here in Regina. You never drank, but I did, and we were with the other guys, or the Sharpies. We were out with Corey and Kara, or the different guys that we would go through in Regina and or go to Stats or Cravings. And it was always, Don, you're always one of those guys that you always would give first, and you always had no problem. So if there's a chance that we can do something and help you out. We want to sell your books. We want to promote your books.
I need y'all platform.
We will do everything we can.
I'm gonna need you, Charleston. I
got you.
We want to be able to help you out because of all the things you've done for everybody here in Saskatchewan, all the football fans, but you deserve it. We're so thankful for you to be on the show, and you're healthy, you're laughing, some of your smiling.
Man, I'm good.
Yeah, Charles, is there anything else you wanted to say to Don?
Nah, man, just thanks for reaching out. Thanks for supporting me and all the little things that I do throughout the community. I'm gonna continue to be me, continue to inspire as much as I can, continue to pass down all the knowledge that you've already started, and all I could do is try to continue doing stuff like that throughout the community, man. All I can say is thank you.
And
I appreciate you. I got the phone numbers for you too. I got two good ones for you.
All right. I'm ready.
Yeah, you'll get you some good sponsors, man. I got some good friends out there.
There you go. Don, is there anything else that you wanted to say or to promote, anything like that?
I know, just I want to thank the fans for always being there for me, man. Without the fans, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. It's unbelievable that, I got a chance to play for 13 years. I got a chance to play only for one team. And it's amazing that the career that I had, if you look back at it, I just try to, I got that little quote that I always tell kids: hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I'm a fine example of that because I did all the small things. And by doing all the small things, that's what got me where I'm at today.
Yeah,
Yep.
very, very wise words.
I like that.
Yeah, and I would expect nothing but from the great Don Narcisse. Don, thank you very much. We always we'll do anything we can for you, buddy. So we'll keep you in mind here. We'll be linking to when your book comes out. Keep in touch. We always leave Charleston to be able to say some famous last words. So I'll let Charleston.
Get ready,
famous last words.
But this is the Better with Age podcast, man. The reason we call it the Better with Age podcast because there's many things that get better with age. There's whiskey, there's wine, there's cheese, there's leather, there's you. As all those 13 years you played in Saskatchewan, you beat cancer, you wrote a book. You're still getting better with age. You're still advancing yourself as a human being. But out of all those things, friendships are the most important. So now that you reached out and you established friendships and connection with me, you're going to be one of my friends, one of my teammates still for the rest of our life, man. If I could do anything to help you, if Yokan can do anything to help you, we're here for you. But this is Better with Age podcast.
There you go. the famous last words for Charleston. Thanks, Don, for everything. We wish you all the best this holiday season. I think your wife's trying to call you now.
Yeah, that's my daughter. My daughter doing it.
Family's always comes first, so we'll let you get to it. Don, thanks for everything. All the best to you. God bless and take care.
All right. Thank y'all. See y'all, man.
All right.
All right, for Johnny, Saskatchewan.